Let's look at part two of the Milky Way. Now, the sun questions what happens on death when ceases form? How does the essence then perform? And what about the soul? Does it merge in the essence, rise in heaven, or submerge in hell, or stay in reincarnation until ends its cycle of migration? Now, the father cheese, it's lovely what he says. He says, "My son, who can experience their depth? None returns to report when ceases breath, to explain heaven, hell, void sky, or say what happens when we die. Death is like deep sleep, where you don't exist, and unknowing when nothing subsists. Think," now he says, "where does the stench or fragrance arrive on waning of its presence? On being pricked, where does the air of the balloon go? What does it bear? Is it not air in and out one, form or formless? Simply none. There is none split to be identified or found to solitary reside." And of course, he logically explains to his son about the soul's ubiquity. He says the soul is like the sky, present, untouched, intimate, high. It's not an individual identity that resides, he speaks, or can be sliced in parts of within and without and in and out of. So he says the soul is like the sky, present, untouched, intimate, high, where all forms are in its embrace, playing in its empty space. Yet this space is within, without, untouched, has no in or out. And like the sky can't be sliced in parts, there are no split souls apart to merge in the cosmic soul, nor an absolute nor a whole. So he says essence alone can't die or decay, appears as forms that seem to wither away. Untouched, it cannot be blemished or woken, blended, or established by any of its apparent roles, but is eternal, absolute, and the whole. And then he says the essence alone appears. It's unconfined, there's no limits. Instead, the infinite essence is form and appearance. So the form separation is simply an illusion. There is no birth or death or birth, for an illusion is form's hearth. And then, of course, the son then asks about karma theory. "Father, what about karma theory? Isn't it divine jury? And don't we have free will to act, or is predestined the life's tract? My party's doctrine explicates how the karmic theory dictates our destiny in this lifetime, which we enhance all the time with actions good or bad, which make us suffer or glad, and thus go to heaven or hell, finish our stay, then fall in spell of reincarnation until we merge in the one, then never search, as form but stay in formless, the ultimate bliss of oneness." The father G then replies, "Oh dear, what a story of the unknowable, a mystery. Firstly, the karmic theory is arrogant and breeds hierarchy, for it judges from its plate or by society's dictates, the circumstantial gate of food's apparent state. Further, it's a story of individuality seeking continuity, irrelevant to liberty. Like all the societal schisms, it's based on the self excision. For this business of karmic theory supposes real are people in a story who perform with impending causality. There isn't individuality to perform acts and appearance, simply acts appearing on their own disappearing. Like foods do not apply flavors, but are inherent sweet and sour. So essence traits does display, appearing as the accent play. As taste can't be divorced from food, so split isn't the viewer and the viewed. Besides, as essence is timeless, there cannot be a causal process. So karma seeming acts rising on their own, seeming causality in timeless zone. Heed, every pair where the cause effect or any the opposite is dual, while there's only one without a subject object scission. And then he goes on to logically speak. He says, rationally to harm a self performing act seems unreasoned. He says, for the form is alive on its own without effort from the self's throne. And there seems a cosmic apparent, it seems like a system that's at work, whereas there isn't. And it's just natural rhythms in display. And then he says how the self is an illusion which lives in the delusion of space and time and its existence, cannot imagine life without its presence. So deems its life flows in the parallel lines and accounts in time ephemeral. When and when it observes all around that foods arrive and leave the ground with absolutely nothing at all, it sets up the karmic stall of individuals in debt, a business. It's just a business karmic theory, a loss of profit. He says nothing goes along with you, no thing, not even you. For death is the ceasing of you. Can anything related continue? And can anyone know that they are no more? And son, how many have you seen reimbursed for their karmic cuisine? He says rationally to this karmic theory, along with your supposed divine jury of judging acts, does not make sense. For whose karma takes precedence, or whose point of view is construed to be true? Besides, the noshuk seems inane even in the karmic plane, for doesn't an act do justice to certain aspects and injustice to other aspects on board? Isn't an act a double edged sword? Also, what seems wise in today's light may seem ludicrous in hindsight. And if one causally does reason, each act, belief, feeling, and expression, won't they go back to the origin, beyond all choice and volition? And what of faith and repentance? Where do they fit in karmic credence? Son, there can never be an end to questions and worthless argument. He says the laws here are made to safeguard justice for crimes within its yours. So drop all your learned terminology shared by confined ideology. See beyond the conditioning of society, its teaching. Do not get embroiled in names, their fables, and their games. For there is no individual, permanent or transitional. All names, identities are labels on the alive, beyond all fables. Even your destiny of free will assume time in an individual, while all there is the appearance of essence without significance. Then I will be doing the part 3 of it. Thank you.